Ahkam in brief. Khums. What is Khums? It is a 20% obligatory Islamic tax on some items that we own under specific conditions. Who should pay it? Every individual Muslim who is at the age of puberty and is sane. For the minors, it becomes the parents' or guardians' duty to pay it. On what is it paid? There are various items to which Khums applies. For example, treasure trove and spoils of war, and etc. But the most popular item in our daily life is the Khums on the surplus of income or on possessions that exceed our needs. This is what we are going to discuss in detail in this video. What is the surplus of income? As we mentioned, Khums is paid on what we own that exceeds our needs. In other words, Khums is paid on the surplus of what we own after spending on all permissible expenses, including the expenses of our dependents. The amount and the level of the expenses varies from a person to another based on his status. For example, someone owns a 2-floor house and he and his family live in 1 floor. But he regularly has guests, and since he uses the 2nd floor for his guests, there will be no Khums on the 2nd floor. Or another person owns a big collection of books in his personal library which he doesn't read. Here again, based on his status, for example, if he is a researcher who usually requires these books, there will be no Khums even if he doesn't read them. But if reading and research is not of his interest and he owns these books, he has to pay Khums on them. Finally, know that according to some jurists, Khums is not paid on inheritance, a wife's mahr, and on what Khums has been paid before. When should the Khums be paid? There are 2 options on when to pay Khums. First is to pay Khums upon receipt of the gain immediately. This means to pay the Khums on things which you think will be more than what you require once you own them. The second, which might be easier, is to fix an annual date as the Khums annual date. On this date, one should pay Khums on the surplus of what one has for the preceding year. Note, on the annual date, one does not have discretion over his belonging on which his Khums is not paid unless he has permission from his marja' al-taqlid. Based on the type of profession, there are 3 options to fix the Khums annual date. 1. A person who has a permanent profession, like an employee or a trader, can fix his year on the first day that he started his work. 2. A person who has various jobs, like the one who is a trader, driver, and also is employed. This person is free to either fix different days for each one of his professions or to fix one specific day for all his works combined together. 3. For the person who is not working. For each item he acquires, his Khums year starts upon the receipt of the item, and after 1 year, Khums becomes due on the surplus of the item. In general, in the Islamic laws, a person is granted a 1-year time frame to determine whether they really need an item or not. After 1 year, if that item was required, then there will be no Khums on it. Otherwise, Khums must be paid on it. For example, if someone buys 4 shirts during the year but he only uses 2 of them, then on the annual date he has to pay the Khums for his 2 extra shirts. Note that using an item itself is not enough to exclude it from Khums, but rather, the usage should be based on a real need according to one's status and common sense. A real example of a Khums calculation. Imagine today is your annual Khums day, and you want to calculate the Khums that you have to pay. To make the calculation easier, let's sort the life's expenditures into major categories: foodstuff, clothing and furniture, property, cash, and debts. First, foodstuff. Whatever foodstuffs exist in your possession, like rice, sugar, food cans, frozen meat, fish, and etc., which is unused and which has a monetary value, should be counted, and 1/5 of it should be paid as Khums. However, if an item has no monetary value in the market, like a spoonful of honey, it can be ignored. Second, clothing, furniture, and housewares. Consider your unused or extra items acquired during the last year. 1/5 of them should be paid as khums. Third, properties and vehicles. If your need in life is, for example, 2 cars, and you own 3, you have to pay khums on the 3rd car. Or if you have a house which suffices your need, but you've purchased another home, the latter is considered surplus of your need and the khums should be paid on it. Note that if someone has bought a piece of land or has bought the material for building a house and it has been with him for more than a year untouched, there are different rulings that apply to it. Please refer to the Islamic laws book for this issue. Fourth, cash money. 1/5 of all money that is saved and is in hand needs to be paid as khums. Fifth, debts and loans. If your money is lent to someone else, after 1 year, khums becomes due on it. But if you've borrowed the money, there are 2 possible options. First, if the money itself or its equivalent or replacement still exists, like when you buy something with it and that thing is still with you. In this case, there's no khums due on it. Second, if the money is spent and doesn't exist anymore, and if it was spent on your need according to your status, there will be no khums. In addition, you're allowed to deduct the amount of your debt from the total surplus that you have to pay khums on, but note that you're allowed to deduct it only for 1 year. A question: does one have to pay khums on business capital and the equipment used in business? Yes, one may have to pay khums if it is more than one's regular needs. But if paying the khums affects his livelihood, there are other details which should be referred to in the Islamic laws book. Paying the khums. After calculating the items on which khums should be paid, there are 2 ways to pay khums. First way is to give 1/5 of the commodity itself. So for example, if you have 5 kilos of rice, pay 1 kilo as khums. The second way is to pay the cash equivalent according to the market value. So instead of giving the 1 kilo of rice, you pay its cash equivalent. To whom khums can be paid? All khums that one pays is consisted of 2 parts, or sahm in Arabic. Sahm of Imam, peace be upon him, which at the time of ghibah is given to the marja' we follow, and he permits where and how this portion is to be spent. Sahm of sayyids, which is given to the poor and needy sayyids, provided that it is not spent on haram purposes. It is also better to consult your marja' or his representative before paying it. In conclusion, it is good to know that in addition to the surplus of income, there are 6 other things that khums is obligatory on: spoils of war, minerals, treasure trove, gems obtained from sea diving, amalgamation of halal wealth with haram, the land which a non-Muslim purchases from a Muslim. You can read more about these items in the Islamic laws book.